What's up, everyone? M. Night Shyamalan's newest movie, Old, just released in theaters, so let's review it. Real quick, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below telling me what you thought of Old. And this is going to be a spoiler-free review for the movie, so if you haven't seen the movie, you're free to watch this video. Anyways, let's get right into the review. So this movie is the newest M. Night Shyamalan movie from 2021, obviously. He's a very mixed director. Obviously, he's done a lot of good movies, and he's done a lot of bad movies, but I always appreciate his bold concepts and his consistency with original films and very big ideas, usually in the like supernatural sci-fi thriller genres. I always appreciated that, and his consistencies with sticking to his format and sticking to what he wants to do. And I think Old absolutely falls into these categories. This movie is really fairly simple in its plot, as it really follows this group of people who are vacationing on an island. Essentially, all of a sudden they start aging really quickly, like very quickly, like, you know, multiple years in an hour. And the movie really just plays with that concept, as we see, you know, them age really quickly and how that would affect people. And obviously, you know, you can figure out what kind of things would happen from there. And for the most part, this movie absolutely worked for me. I have no idea why this movie is getting so much hate. I really had a good time with this movie. It's wicked entertaining. It's very easy to watch. It's not hard at all to follow. It was a very enjoyable theater experience for me. I really think M. Night Shyamalan does his best with this concept. This is not an easy concept at all to do. You take in this concept of people aging very quickly, and you have to make a kind of entertaining and cohesive movie around that. That's not easy. It's not done perfect here, but it is done good enough to me. I think it worked for the most part. And M. Night Shyamalan, while he hasn't made some great movies, he has done a good job at tackling some big ideas. You look at like the kid who can see dead people in Sixth Sense, or the guy with the multiple personalities in Split. He's good enough at tackling these big ideas. I think he does a good job here in managing this concept and making it work as good as possible. The plot of this movie was, you know, fairly simple. It's really about them aging really quickly, and it worked. It worked for me. It was fine. I didn't have any problems with it, and I thought the acting wasn't too bad. I've seen some people complain about the acting. I thought it pretty much was fine throughout the movie. There were some characters that I thought were weaker, significantly weaker, and there's a lot of times where it just felt like they're kind of just reading their lines, and there wasn't a lot of effort put into that acting. But for the most part, it was fine for me. Once again, it wasn't great. The twist at the end of the movie, obviously M. Night Shyamalan always has to have a twist at the end of his movie. I'm not going to spoil it, obviously, but I thought the twist was pretty good. It wasn't like a shocker like Sixth Sense or something. I kind of predicted it a little. I kind of predicted the nature of the twist, but I did enjoy the twist. You go to M. Night Shyamalan movies for the plot twist at the end, and it worked for me. It was very enjoyable, especially when you get towards the end, you know something's coming. So that's a lot of fun, and it worked here. And the movie was really creative with how it used this concept of people aging. There's a lot of number of factors that fall into this movie that M. Night Shyamalan is able to utilize in keeping this movie fresh and keeping it moving forward. And this movie is just very easy to watch. It flows very nicely. It doesn't overstay its welcome at all. You know, the runtime went by pretty quickly. I really did get sucked into the story. Like I said, I like what M. Night Shyamalan did with how he utilizes this concept of people aging. Different characters have different like medical conditions, and that plays into it. You know, you have people of different ages. He utilizes that, and how that's going to play a role in it. And he's fairly creative, and that worked pretty well for me. And this is a very hard concept to do. You just think about the concept of people aging really quickly and crafting a movie around that. That's not easy, and I think he did a good enough job here. I enjoyed it. This movie does have some issues. The dialogue wasn't great at times. A lot of kind of 3-word, 4-word sentence long sentence dialogue that just really don't feel right at all. It's kind of characters saying things that just don't make sense, or saying things that just people wouldn't say. Kind of after something big happens, and then they just kind of deliver this line, and it feels very weird. And there's a lot of moments in this movie like that, and that was kind of unfortunate, because the dialogue just was really a struggle in this movie. Not terrible all the time, just a lot of the time it was. I thought this movie had some tone issues. It wasn't really intense or terrifying throughout the movie. I was definitely enjoying what was happening on screen. I was intrigued by it. I wasn't scared at all, like I kind of thought I felt like I should be, but I wasn't. I felt like this movie should be terrifying, and you should be kind of on, and it should feel really intense and almost scary. It wasn't. I really felt very calm throughout the entire movie, and I don't know if that's what he was going for, but this movie also felt a little goofy. That's definitely a big complaint I've been seeing, and I would agree a little bit. If it doesn't feel right at times. Like I said, the concept that's in this movie is very hard to tackle, but it just feels weird a lot of the time, and a lot of people aren't going to like that. But the tone would be my biggest issue with this movie. But overall, I did really enjoy this film. I would highly recommend you check it out in theaters if you'd like. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I really liked it. I had a really good time in the theaters. It was very entertaining, very easy to watch, and the concept itself is very intriguing and executed pretty well by M. Night Shyamalan. His movies always have these crazy concepts and plot twists and everything that very kind of lend themselves to a theater experience. And I think this movie is absolutely the case with this movie. I really had a good time with it. It wasn't a perfect movie, don't get me wrong. There's certainly issues, with the tone, the dialogue. There's just some directing issues in here that just don't really feel all that right. But overall, I thought it was a very good movie. And it was just a very enjoyable experience, almost like a little bit of a guilty pleasure movie, because there is just some issues and the concept is really weird, but a very fun movie nonetheless that I had a really good time with. So I'm going to give Old a 3.5 out of 5 stars and a 73%. Anyways, that's going to do it for my review of Old from 2021, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below telling me what you thought of Old. And I'm going to be ranking all of his movies from Wide Awake all the way up until Old. I'm going to be ranking all his movies in an upcoming video very soon, so stay tuned for that if you'd like to check that out. That will be coming out at some point this week. Anyways, as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.